Once upon a time, in the peaceful little town of Enugu, there lived a family that everyone respected. Mr. and Mrs. Addo were diligent, compassionate parents, and their children, Amara and Elijah, were the heart of the community. Amara, the elder sibling, was a lively girl whose bright smile could illuminate any dark space. Elijah, reserved by nature, followed his sister like a shadow. If Amara chuckled, Elijah did too. If she wept, he dried her tears. They were inseparable. Their parents stayed occupied, always laboring to sustain their home. Most afternoons, Amara and Elijah remained alone indoors, playing games, sharing tales, or simply enjoying silent moments together. At night, they even lay in the same bed, whispering about their hopes and worries. One afternoon, Elijah burst into Amara's room, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Amara, look at this!" he exclaimed, holding up a sleek smartphone. Their father had gifted it to him lately. That day at school, Elijah had taken it along, and a few older students had introduced him to unfamiliar corners of the internet, including sites meant only for grown-ups. "What is it?" Amara inquired, as curious as ever. "Come and see," Elijah answered, climbing onto her bed. He unlocked the device and played a video. The screen displayed baffling images of adults engaging in acts they couldn't comprehend. Amara initially scowled. "What are they doing?" she asked. "Not sure," Elijah responded, chuckling. "But it looks amusing. It's giving me a strange feeling. Let's watch more," he suggested with a grin. "Me too. My body feels tingly," Amara agreed, her gaze fixed on the screen. So they continued. At first, it was mere curiosity, like observing an unfamiliar creature in the wild. They didn't grasp what they were viewing, yet they couldn't look away. Every clip led to more hushed giggles, whispers, and new sensations. As their viewing deepened, so did their bond. It became their hidden world, something only they knew. In the hush of their room, the Addo children embarked on an experience they couldn't fully interpret, one that would alter everything. Days stretched into weeks, weeks into months. The quiet secret Amara and Elijah kept flourished like a seed, nurtured in rich soil. Every afternoon, when their home was still and their parents were absent, they sat together, fixated on the screen. Each video awakened fresh questions, curiosity, uncertainty, and a strange thrill they couldn't explain came over them. One bright afternoon, Elijah whispered to Amara, leaning in, "Let's try what they did." Amara blinked, her heart racing. "What if Mama finds out?" she asked, her voice a mere breath. "She won't," Elijah assured, smiling confidently. "It's just you and me." Amara hesitated. Her mind flooded with doubt, but she trusted Elijah. He was her shadow, her companion in everything. After a brief pause, she nodded, and they decided to imitate what they had seen. At first, it felt like a game, just a silly game. Amara lay back on the bed, smiling as Elijah positioned her just like the videos had shown them. They laughed and teased each other, stopping whenever either of them felt too uneasy. From that first day, they couldn't stop. They kept going. Every afternoon when their parents weren't around, and soon they began doing it at night, unnoticed by their parents, who were unaware that both children shared the same room and bed. "It hurts a little," Amara would whisper, but Elijah, already enjoying the moment, would cover her mouth with his hand to muffle her. Meanwhile, Mr. Addo and Mrs. Okafo stayed in their room, completely unaware of the happenings in their children's room. They believed Amara and Elijah were just sleeping soundly like they were supposed to. Little did they know, their children were having a very different kind of time. Years passed, and by the time Amara was 14 and Elijah was 12, their secret had deepened in ways they hadn't anticipated. What had started as a game had turned into something they couldn't stop. Late at night, as they lay in bed, the weight of their actions pressed heavily on them. Amara would stare at the ceiling, her chest tight with guilt. "Elijah," she whispered, one evening, "do you think this is wrong?" Elijah was silent for a moment before replying, "It's just us, Amara. No one else will know." Their once innocent bond, now filled with guilt and confusion, had them trapped. They didn't know how to break free from the web they had woven. So they stayed quiet, carrying the heavy secret within them. The house that once felt like a safe haven now seemed like a prison. A few years later, Amara had blossomed into a beautiful young woman of 18, while Elijah, now 16, had grown taller with a deeper voice. Yet their bond, formed on years of secrets, remained unbroken. The innocent games they once played as children had now turned into... One night, something even riskier happened. Elijah sat on Amara's bed, his expression stern. "Amara," he murmured, "I believe we should be careful. It's much safer. Let's attempt it the way we've seen in those clips." Amara's eyes widened. "Careful? Elijah, are you insane? What if someone catches you buying it?" Elijah grinned, hoping to reassure her. "Relax, I'll be discreet. Nobody will find out." The next morning, Elijah walked into the drugstore, his pulse racing as he neared the counter. The pharmacist barely acknowledged him as she passed over the tiny package. Feeling relieved, Elijah rushed home, stuffing the box deep into his jacket. But stepping into the lounge, he failed to notice it slip from his pocket onto the carpet. "Elijah, explain this." Mr. Addo's booming voice echoed through the space. He held up the package, suspicion burning in his stare. Elijah froze, his brain scrambling for a reason. It's for a school project," he blurted. "A science experiment." Mr. Addo squinted, but chose not to question further. "Be mindful of what enters this house," he cautioned, tossing the package onto the desk. Shaken by the near discovery, Amara and Elijah agreed to be more discreet. Yet when no protection was accessible, they proceeded without it. They assured themselves all would be fine, that Elijah would withdraw when things became intense. But reality struck hard when, at 19, Amara started feeling unwell. Nausea hit her, her hands turned clammy, and dizzy spells followed. "I might be pregnant," she confessed one night, tears trailing down her cheeks. Elijah's stomach dropped. "We'll handle this," he assured her, steadying himself. Pooling their funds, they visited a nearby clinic. There, they deceived a nurse, pretending they required abortion pills for research. The nurse hesitated, but eventually gave them the medication, warning them to be cautious. Back home, Amara wept as she took the pills, her frame quivering with distress and remorse. Elijah sat close, gripping her hand. "No one will ever find out," he murmured, though doubt wavered in his tone. But that wasn't the end. The secret, like an ever-growing shadow, darkened each time Amara faced the same ordeal. They followed the same pattern, crafting fresh lies for various nurses at multiple clinics and pharmacies, burying their disgrace. Over time, the repeated terminations began damaging Amara's health, though she wouldn't fully realize it. She never realized the harm she was causing. Unknowingly, she was endangering not only her well-being, but also her destiny. She had no idea about the long-term consequences of the abortion pills she consumed. What was once a deep connection between them now felt like a heavy burden, trapping them in a web of secrecy, spinning out of control. Years passed, and soon it was time for Amara to settle down. At 24, she met Chuka, a generous man whose kindness matched his fortune. He was instantly drawn to her, and Amara, eager to escape her history, allowed herself to love him back. Chuka adored her, treating her like royalty. Before long, he got down on one knee, offering a dazzling diamond ring. Amara accepted, convinced this was her escape, a chance to break free from Elijah and the darkness of their past. After the wedding, Amara severed ties with her brother. "This has to stop," she declared, avoiding his eyes. Elijah's voice trembled as he answered, "Amara, you can't just walk away like this." "I have to," she murmured, her voice unsteady. "I need a fresh start." Though devastated, Elijah let her go. Yet the weight of their shared past clung to both of them. 3 years into their marriage, Amara still hadn't conceived. Chuka, longing for a child, remained patient, but whispers started spreading. Her family grew worried, turning to prayers, fasting, and even consulting a prophet who blessed water for Amara to drink for fertility. But nothing changed. "Let's see a doctor," Chuka finally urged, his tone both tender and firm. Amara hesitated, then reluctantly agreed. They consulted multiple specialists, each delivering the same heartbreaking verdict. Eventually, a compassionate but serious doctor sat her down. "Madam," he said gently, "your uterus has suffered severe damage from multiple abortions. Pregnancy may no longer be possible." The word struck Amara like a bolt of lightning. Her heart splintered into countless shards. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she left the hospital, Chuka walking silently beside her. That evening at home, Chuka confronted her. "Amara, I need the truth. What happened? Why didn't you tell me?" Sensing something was wrong, her parents joined in. "Talk to us, Amara," her mother pleaded. Overwhelmed, Amara finally broke down. "Elijah and it started when we were young," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "I got pregnant many times and ended it each time. I didn't know what else to do." Her mother's wail pierced the room. "My children. Oh God," she sobbed, clutching her chest. Her father sat in shock, his face drained of color. Chuka stared at Amara, his expression a mix of disbelief and heartbreak. "You kept this from me for all these years?" "I'm sorry," Amara choked out, her voice nearly inaudible between her sobs. "I just didn't know how to tell you." A once joyful home was now consumed by sorrow, anger, and unbearable silence. The truth, buried for so long, had finally surfaced, and its weight was crushing. The air hung thick with tension. Amara's mother wept while Chuka stood frozen in disbelief. Amara buried her face in her hands, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Then, breaking the heavy silence, Mr. Addo cleared his throat. His voice was low, trembling. "I knew this would happen. From the moment Elijah was born," he began, his words laced with regret. All eyes turned to him, their tear-streaked faces filled with confusion. "What do you mean, Papa?" Amara's voice quivered. Mr. Addo inhaled deeply and glanced at his wife, who nodded, encouraging him to continue. "Elijah is not your biological brother," he confessed, his voice laden with sorrow. The revelation sliced through the room like a knife. Everyone froze. Amara's jaw dropped. Elijah's eyes widened in shock. Mrs. Addo spoke next, her voice soft yet filled with anguish. "After we had you, Amara, I couldn't conceive again. Doctors said my womb was too weak, but your father's family insisted he needed a son. They threatened to send me away if I didn't bear him a boy." She paused, tears flowing freely. "We were desperate. So we adopted Elijah the day he was born. He was just an infant. We thought it was the only way to keep our family intact. We never imagined it would lead to this." Amara's chest tightened, her heart hammering. "You lied to us!" she screamed, her voice shaking with rage and pain. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Elijah, who had been silent, suddenly stood up. His face was pale, his lips pressed into a tight line. Without a word, he turned and walked out. "Elijah, wait!" Amara called after him. But he didn't stop. The door slammed shut behind him, its echo reverberating through the house like a clap of thunder. Amara turned back to her parents, her eyes burning with tears and fury. "You kept this from us our whole lives. How could you?" Mr. and Mrs. Addo remained silent, their heads bowed in shame. They had no explanations, no justifications. What they once believed would safeguard their family had instead shattered it. The home that was once filled with love and laughter now felt empty and broken. The weight of two terrible secrets had destroyed the Addo family, leaving behind nothing but agony and remorse. In the days that followed, silence and sorrow filled the house. Chuka, who had once cherished Amara, now viewed her with distant, unreadable eyes. He couldn't move past the deception, the hidden truths, and the darkness that had been kept from him. "I thought I knew you," he muttered one evening while packing his bags. "But I can't live with this. I can't live with you." Amara collapsed, onto her knees, sobbing. "Chuka, please, don't leave me," she pleaded. But his decision was firm. Without another word, he walked out of their home, leaving Amara alone with a broken heart. Elijah, too, could no longer stay. The burden of the truth and the overwhelming shame were unbearable. One night, without telling a soul, he packed his things and disappeared. He gave no explanation, left no note. He simply vanished, leaving behind the only family he had ever known. Back in the Addo household, the once vibrant and joyful home felt like a tomb. Mr. and Mrs. Addo, weighed down by guilt, spent their days in quiet prayer. "God, forgive us," Mrs. Addo whispered repeatedly, her voice trembling with grief. "We wanted to protect our family, but we only ended up destroying it." Now, alone and childless, Amara spent her days haunted by her past. She replayed every moment, the laughter she once shared with Elijah, the secrets they had hidden, the lies they had told. Everything tormented her like a shadow she couldn't outrun. Her body, weakened from years of repeated abortions, served as a constant reminder of the choices she could never undo. The Addo family, once admired for their unity, had been torn apart by lies and silence. Their tragedy became a cautionary tale whispered among neighbors, a warning of what happens when parents fail to properly guide their children and allow secrets to fester in the dark. This story stands as a lesson. No matter how well secrets are concealed, they will always come to light. And when they do, the destruction they leave behind can never be reversed. Parents, watch over your children. Teach them right from wrong. Shield them not only from the world, but also from the dangers that lurk within. Because once the foundation of a family is broken, the pieces can never fit together the same way again. This is a warning. Parents, guide your children. Teach them the difference between right and wrong. Don't let hidden truths tear your family apart, because secrets will always surface in the end. I hope you found the story enjoyable. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts on the lesson from this tale, And remember to subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories like this. Thank you.